Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Literature, the channel where we explore the fascinating world of literature theory. Today, we're diving into a really interesting and contemporary approach to understanding literature, cognitive literacism. Stay tuned till the end because I'll be breaking down how this theory shifts our perspective on reading and analyzing texts. Let's start with a simple question. Have you ever wondered how our brains process stories? We all know that reading isn't just about words on a page. When we read, we imagine characters, feel emotions, and even mentally put ourselves in different places. This is where cognitive literary criticism comes in. It's an approach that asks us to think about the mental processes involved when we engage with literature. Cognitive literary criticism is rooted in cognitive science. This is the field that studies how we think, how we process information, and how we understand the world. Applied to literature, this theory explores how our minds work when we read, write, or even think about stories. It's like a bridge between literature and psychology, focusing on how the human brain reacts to texts. One of the key ideas in cognitive literary criticism is that the human brain has evolved to understand stories in particular ways. Think about it, our ancestors used storytelling to pass down knowledge and lessons long before books were ever invented. Our brains, over time, have become wired to engage with narratives. This theory suggests that the same cognitive mechanisms we use in everyday life, like problem solving or recognizing emotions in others, are also at play when we read literature. A great example of this is theory of mind. This is our ability to attribute mental states like beliefs, intentions, and desires to ourselves and to others. When we read a novel, for instance, we constantly use theory of mind to understand characters' motivations, predict what they might do next, and even empathize with their struggles. Cognitive literary criticism argues that this mental activity is fundamental to our engagement with literature. Let's take a concrete example. Think of Shakespeare's Hamlet. When Hamlet says to be or not to be, he's questioning his existence, and as readers, we try to understand his internal conflict. Cognitive literary critics would say that our brains naturally start working to interpret his thoughts and emotions as if we were reading the mind of a real person. This shows how cognitive processes like empathy and perspective taking are key to our experience of the text. Now, one of the exciting aspects of cognitive literary criticism is that it doesn't limit itself to traditional psychology, it also considers insights from neuroscience. In recent years, there have been studies using brain scans that show how reading fiction lights up the same areas of the brain that are involved in real-life social interactions. So when we read a complex character like Emma Bovary from Madame Bovary, our brains might actually be simulating the experience of interacting with a real person. This adds another layer to the idea that literature can shape the way we understand human behavior. Another crucial idea in cognitive literary criticism is embodied cognition. This suggests that our understanding of the world comes not just from our brains but from our entire bodies. Think about the way certain descriptions in literature make you feel physically. A cold, damp, rainy setting in a novel might actually make you shiver as you read. This theory says that our bodily sensations play a role in how we interpret and experience texts. This is especially interesting when we think about metaphor in literature. Cognitive scientists argue that many of our metaphors are based on physical experiences. For example, when we talk about someone being up or down emotionally, these metaphors are grounded in our physical experiences of standing upright when we feel good or slumping when we feel bored. So when literature uses metaphor, it's tapping into these embodied cognitive experiences that we all share. Cognitive literary criticism opens up questions about how literature can affect our brains over time. Some scholars argue that frequent reading can actually improve our cognitive abilities. By constantly engaging with different perspectives, complex emotions, and intricate narratives, we're exercising our brains in a way that's similar to how physical exercise strengthens our bodies. This could explain why people who read regularly often show greater empathy and a more nuanced understanding of human relationships. But like all literary theories, cognitive literary criticism has its critics. Some argue that it reduces the richness of literature to mere brain functions. Literature is often seen as something deeply emotional, cultural, and artistic, and critics of the cognitive approach argue that reducing it to neurological processes risks stripping it of this deeper meaning. However, supporters of the theory counter that understanding the brain's role in reading doesn't take away from the emotional or artistic experience of literature, it just adds another dimension to it. In fact, cognitive literary criticism is valuable because it complements other theories rather than replacing them. It offers a new lens to look through, one that doesn't ignore the emotional or cultural impact of literature, but instead enhances our understanding of how we experience stories on a fundamental cognitive level. So to sum up, cognitive literary criticism gives us a fresh and exciting way to think about literature. It connects the mental processes we use in everyday life with the ways we engage with stories, and it even ties in ideas from neuroscience and sense psychology to show how our brains react when we read. Whether or not it's the definitive way to analyze texts, it certainly offers a fascinating perspective that can deepen our appreciation of literature. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more literary theories, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Ask Literature for more content. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.